So we've got 25 of our best tips for marketing and managing a law firm. And let me give you one of the most important. Running your law firm like a machine. First, a story. Once I asked a good friend of mine who runs a great law firm in West Palm Beach, Florida, Craig Goldenfarb, what he would do if someone came into his office, demanded to speak with him, and they had a $5 million injury case. Would you meet with them? And he said, no, absolutely not. I've got a team to handle everything. Great intake team, an attorney who handles multi-million-dollar cases. We know exactly what to do, and I would only get in the way. I was flabbergasted by that. I thought, man, that takes something else, some chutzpah. But it really does, because he has systems for pre-litigation, for litigation, everything. He doesn't randomly take emails, phone calls, doesn't randomly post on social media, because he runs his law firm like a business. It is self-managing, meaning he doesn't have to be involved in the day-to-day affairs of his law firm. That's a pretty amazing thing, because this law firm over the last 15 years has grown into one of the best in South Florida for personal injury. But let me give you the top 4 tips for delegation. And these come from a book that you've got to read. It's called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. Buy Back Your Time is a phenomenal book. And the author encourages you to hire people, not for the purpose of growing your law firm, but for the purpose of buying back your time. Tip number 1 of the 4, you begin by doing a time and energy audit. So every 15 minutes that you're at work, 15-minute intervals, you're going to document what you're doing. You could do this for a day, or you could do it for 2 weeks, but document what you're doing. If you're randomly web surfing, just document it. And then you're going to have an audit. So now you're going to know, step number 1, where are you spending your time? Are you spending it on social media? Are you spending it on a case management? What are you doing with your time? Step number 2, you're going to calculate what's called your buyback rate. The buyback rate means, what is the value of your time? Let's say there's 3 steps to calculating your buyback rate. Number 1, how much money do you make from your law firm? And that would include your salary, any distributions that you have, anything else like fringe benefits. So let's just say it's $400,000 that you make from your law firm. Number 2, what you do is the average number of years that people work in a year is 2,000 hours. So you divide it by 2,000, and then you divide it, step number 3, divide it by 4. So there's a little methodology to this. Number 1, how much money do you make per year from your law firm? Number 2, divide that number by 2,000, which is the average number of hours that a person works in a given year. And step number 3, divide that number by 4. And then you're going to have a number. And in this case, if it was 400,000, I believe the buyback rate would be about $60 per hour. What that means is, for any task in your firm where you can hire someone for $60 or less, you absolutely have to do it. That's your buying back your time by outsourcing work to other people and hiring them to do work for you. Step number 1, hiring an administrative assistant who can take the tasks off your plate. Where do you begin with an administrative assistant? You begin with email and your calendar. So the email means you're not going to be responding to email throughout the day. You're not going to have other people dictating to you what you do or how you respond to things. You're going to have an administrative assistant who's going to respond to email for you, all of it. I haven't looked at my work-related email for a long time, probably over a year or 2 years, because I have a paralegal who does it for me. They're going to look at it. They're going to respond. If there's an emergency that needs to get brought to your attention, they will bring it to your attention, but somebody else is going to go through all your email for you. Number 2, the administrative assistant will also handle your calendar. So you're not going to schedule anything, any appointments. Your administrative assistant will schedule everything for you. What we do every Thursday, we'll get the calendar for the next week, and we'll have the whole calendar right in front of us. And whenever I need to know where I'm going to go, our team, in this case, a paralegal, will tell me, you've got to be here on this date, you've got to be here, there, you have a meeting with this person, fine. somebody else is going to handle your calendar. So the administrative tasks are the low-hanging fruit that you need to begin with. Delegating, get it off of your plate. What else can you do? Case management, that's the grind of litigation. So document preparation, discovery responses, pleadings, drafting motions, you're going to delegate that, get it off of your plate. The idea, according to the author Dan Martell, you're focusing your time on work that you love to do, and basically it makes a lot of money for your firm too. And there's a good chance, and this is true for most lawyers, is that you're doing a lot of stuff that is administrative, that sucks the life out of you, that you just can't stand. That's the stuff that you've got to take off your plate, delegate to administrative and assistant, begin taking back your life. Step number 4, recycle and repeat this process. So as you first delegate your calendar and your email to an administrative assistant, you keep cycling and repeating. There's going to be other things, case management stuff. Get that off your plate. Meetings with clients, whatever it can, keep chipping away so that ultimately you're rising up from very beginning would be administrative tasks. Get that off your plate. Next is going to be case management. Get that off your plate. Next after that's going to be marketing. And some of it you can get off your plate, but some of it, if you're really good at it, you shouldn't delegate. So if you're great at doing marketing, then maybe you want to hold on to some of that stuff. And the final stage here would be leadership. So that's where you want to spend most of your time, is talking with other people that you work with, the members of your team, the leadership team, and forming strategic plans for your law firm. Now, there's going to be a little bonus tip that the author Dan Martell gives us. It's called How to Avoid Upward Delegation, because people at your firm will come to you and say, hey, what do I do now? How do I handle this situation? What they're trying to do is take their work and pass it off to you. That's called upward delegation. When that happens, he has a rule called the 1-3-1 rule. Basically, you ask the team member, number 1, identify what the problem is. And then the 3 is identify 3 possible solutions. And then the next one is identify, make a recommendation. What are we going to do about it? So you're getting them to think through the process of what to do. Hopefully you're helping them to become more self-sufficient and independent of you, because that's really what you want, is a team that can think on their own, doesn't need your feedback on every little thing. The other thing that Dan Martell offers is what he calls the $50 magic pill. The $50 magic pill means his team does not have to come to him if they want authority to spend $50 for something, or you could raise that to $200 or $500, whatever you want, that they can go ahead and spend it, just use their judgment, do not have to come to him for approval, unless perhaps the expense is going to exceed the amount of their magic pill, then they will need approval. But that's a great way, so you're just not getting bombarded through the course of the day with constant requests. Can you approve this? What about this? Is this bill okay? No, you have authority. In our firm, for $250, if a bill is less than $250, use your judgment, approve it, just get it paid, send it to our bookkeeper, be done with it. Don't come to me with that. It's a waste of my time. Greg Goldenfarb, to circle back with him, he values his time at about $5,000 an hour. What does that mean? That means that he's not doing the day-to-day grind that all the rest of us are doing. And it shows. He's running his business like a world-class business. And he's basically overseeing everything, but he's letting other people do the work, and he's focusing on just those 1 or 2 things that he's great at. He does better than anyone else, and he's super excited about doing. And Craig Goldenfarb, you are an absolute epitome of the business owner, law firm, SEO, and I really respect and acknowledge what you are doing. It's just fantastic. And I think that all of us should strive just a little bit to be like him. Let's get rid of the email. Let's take the calendar off of our plate, and let's start doing more of the work that we love doing. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate that. Comment, I'll respond, and maybe share this, and I will see you next time. Take care.